Really? You got to be kidding me.
All right, Pops, this comes by way of GM,
Yes.
Mary Barra.
Yes.
I think you'll get a kick out of this.
Okay.
GM's Mary Barra,
Yeah.
profit potential in, quote, above and beyond tech, not heated seats. Software and services represent a major growth opportunity for GM,
Yes.
particularly as vehicles go to their second and third owners, CEO Mary Barra told investors. You know what she leans on heavily here, Dad? What product do you think she's leaning on as the indicator that suggests subscription products are what new car owners, second car owners, third car used car owners want? You know what product? Starts with an O.
O?
Yeah.
What's the second letter?
N.
N. OnStar?
Mary Barra is using OnStar as a way to justify why they think more. So this is GM amongst many other automakers talking about how they're going to generate significant revenue from subscriptions and software in vehicles. And their example, Barra's example in this is, look, OnStar is going well. We think we can sell
Going well? Going well? What the hell reports is she looking at? It's got about a 7% take rate. After the subscription ends, the free subscription ends, it's about a 7% take rate where people go, oh yeah, there's enough value here to continue this nonsense. No, it's never had a good take rate. Never.
All right, so here we go. GM thinks they can make $25 billion from this.
I think I could be 6 foot. I just need 6-inch lifts in my sneakers.
She said the automaker has learned from its OnStar safety and connectivity service what consumers are willing to pay for.
Which is not much when it comes to OnStar. Go ahead.
GM has seen a willingness for, quote, something that's above and beyond, citing examples such as safety and security services, in-vehicle wireless hotspot capability, and vehicle customization. This is from Barra. Quote, if I buy my vehicle today and 2 years from now, there's something that's been invented that's new, or a new service or a new feature. People are willing to pay for that. And so I think there's an opportunity. The team's already done a lot of work. We've done a lot of research and understanding what the consumer will pay for and what they won't. GM has said software and services could generate up to $25 billion in revenue. And they have hired folks away from Apple to help them get there.
Scroll back up.
Yep.
Okay. The team's already done a lot of work. We've done a lot of research in understanding what consumers will pay for and what they won't. Let me help the American public out there. Don't buy any of it. Don't subscribe to any of it. Okay. If you don't subscribe, if there's no money to be made through these subscriptions, they won't come out with them. If you get sucked into, oh yeah, I'll pay $10 a month for this and $20 a month for that and $30 a month for this and $10 a month, then they're going to win. Okay. It's just that simple. So do your research as a consumer and don't be willing to pay for any of it.
Pops, there are all sorts of ways we can help people get good car deals. Like what?
Well, car coaches. They're real people with real knowledge that get you real savings.
CarEdge.com/plans. Check it out. The reason today's headline, which I will pull up on the screen, of fleet sales continue hot streak in May.
Yeah.
You got to be kidding me, because who are the OEMs turning to buy all those expensive new cars? Well, let's look. It would be the 20.4% year-over-year increase in fleet sales to retail customers, a 74% increase in fleet sales to rental car companies, our government helping out commercial fleets. Gang, we have seen the rise of fleet sales become more and more material. Month after month, more and more new cars are not being sold to consumers. They are being sold to commercial buyers. I think that is such an interesting storyline here. One that I know you've been on it, Brandon, we've been on it. This trend paired with all the other factors, I think highlights some of our slowdown in the market and looking for buyers who have, think about it, a business, it's a tax deductible, it's a law, it's an expense. So I get to write it off of my taxes.
Yeah.
Are you surprised by this, Pops, that we've got the hot streak in fleet sales continuing?
We've seen it for months. When we kept seeing the headlines in automotive news about how sales were up, and the headlines, retail sales up for the month of January. Sales, And then you read the subheadline where it says, fleet sales are up, but what's not up is retail sales. The retail sales have been somewhat stagnant. Retail sales last month were up 20%. That's a good, that's a good sign and a bad sign all at once.
Incentives were also up significantly.
Yes.
So that could be a good sign.
Yes.
But
But the good sign of that is that manufacturers are now understanding that they have priced their cars so high that they now have to incentivize through customer rebates or interest rates to get people to buy them. Without the incentives, they ain't getting people in there to buy them.
Without 20% of their cars being sold to fleet customers, they're also not making their quarterly numbers. Brandon, what do you think of all this? The hot streak with fleet sales bouncing back really, really strong.
I mean, I think you're going to continue to see that probably for a few quarters. But then the problem is all these companies that were waiting for vehicles to be able to buy their fleet vehicles, they're all trying to rush in now, buy now, and they're going to buy over the next couple quarters. But then, I mean, the typical company is going to keep a fleet vehicle, 2 to 3 years. And so are you going to see now that next year, all these fleet sales are going to just completely dry up because these companies that needed fleet vehicles, they're set for another 2 years. I'm curious to hear that about Ray, from Ray to see how often like a company would come buy fleet vehicles from a new dealership.
Well, I can honestly tell you, I don't have a good answer for that. I never worked at a dealership where we had a fleet department where we were selling.
Yeah, I guess Acura is not going to be selling out a bunch of fleet.
And Nissan, when I was at Admiral Nissan here in the Atlantic City area, we weren't selling a lot of fleet vehicles there either. Now, what fleet sales there were done through the Ford dealer and the Chevy dealerships and the Dodge dealerships, but certainly not the import brands that I represented at the time. So I really don't know. One thing I would suggest is that I don't think there'll be a slowdown in fleet sales to rental car companies anytime soon, because I think they desperately still need to increase the size of their rental fleets so that they should be active for quite some time to come until there's such a recession that people don't travel again anymore.
You keep talking.
Aren't we already seeing that though? Isn't travel starting to take a poop?
We're not seeing a recession. I mean, if
no, I'm not recession. I'm talking about travel, like just the foreshadowing of that.
Total spending in mid-May was up 12% year over year with strength in travel, healthcare, and services. So we have gas station spending down, all others down, repair shops down, hotel motel down. But then you have travel agency spending way up, other transportation discount stores. This is interesting to look at. Auto rental is actually up as of mid-May. Again, rear view mirror, but it does give you some insight into what's going on.
And part of it is we keep thinking, or I keep indicating that perhaps there might be a recession. And a lot of economists suggest that there's going to be, and then we see job growth that nobody expected to see. So I think that just goes to bolster my point that we do not live in normal times.
That's fair.
And because there's certain economic indicators that suggest we should be in a recession. There's other economic indicators that suggest we're not anywhere near a recession. So I don't think the same rules that we were used to in the past historically apply today, which is why I think the market is as goofy as it is.